Hey, what's up guys, this is Dave from netcodesource.com here with the Razer Academy to bring you an overview of DE Mirage. Now DE Mirage is not a Valve-made map. It was made by a map maker and it's been used in the competitive community for many years. It's a map that has been in tournaments for a very long time, and that if you plan on playing competitively, you really need to know inside and out. You're not going to find this map on many public servers. It's not really used in the public community too much, but if you want to be a competitive player, you're going to have to really understand this map and be good on it. So what I'm going to do in this video is give you guys a good brief overview. I'm going to discuss the CT side and how you want to play it and what player roles are. I'm going to give you guys a good T side default that you want to do and what your roles are and what you're going to try to accomplish on T side in that default, and what each player is responsible for. And then I'm going to go over all the spot names on the map so that when you come into it, you're not going to be completely lost and things like that, and you're going to kind of have a decent understanding of what to call things. So that's going to be what we're going to cover in this video, and I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope it helps at least some people out. Alright guys, now let's go over the spot names and what to call everything. So first you're going to spawn on the CT side right here. It's called CT spawn. When you go towards the right, you're going to call this CT spawn as well. You're just going to call this a lot. You're going to be calling this CT spawn because a lot of people are going to end up being here that you're going to end up fighting. This is A site, all of this. This is under balcony. And this is above balcony. All this is going to be the apartments. A apartments. All this is going to be A ramp. Now, going through here, you're going to have A ramp. You're just going to call this. This is still A apartments. Coming to here, this is T spawn. This is where the terrorists spawn. If you go up here, this is going to be the B halls. All through here. And even along inside of here. You're going to be calling that B halls. When you come down here, you're going to call this underpass. This is called boost boxes from window room. It's very easy to boost up here. Next, you're going to have connector. This is all connector. Now over here, you're going to have window room. And through here, you're going to have all of the middle. Now when you come up here, you're going to have catwalk. All of this is catwalk that I'm on. This is going to be vent room from catwalk. And this is still all catwalk. Now when you come up here, this is going to be the B site where you plant in here. And then you're going to have the B window room or the B apartments, whatever you want to call it. This is called jail. This is very popular. It's either going to be called DSN box or green bin or Hulk, whatever you want to call it. And this is still the B halls. Now I don't think I'm forgetting anything. So that's the spot names. You know, this is window room again. And all of that. So that's the spot names that you're going to see on DE Mirage. There's going to be a lot more specific spot names, but generally everybody's going to have a different, name for that. Usually going to plant around here, so sometimes they call this plant boxes, and these are fire boxes. There's a lot of different spot names for everything else on the map. So those specific spot names, everybody's going to call it differently. So you're going to kind of have to go over that with your teammates on what you want to call those. Alright guys, now that we went over the spot names, let's go over the CT side roles and how you want to set up. So you're going to set up in basically a 2-1-2 setup. You're going to have 2 guys watching the A side of the map, 1 guy middle, and 2 guys towards B. So let's go over your 2 A guys at the start. So first things first, you're going to want to smoke this ramp to help you stop the rush and really get control of this side of the map. And once you stop the rush, and you could pre-nade, do whatever you want, you could set up in a lot of different ways. You're generally going to have 1 guy always either on top of the balcony or underneath the balcony. Okay? Now this guy could either be responsible for hulls or whatever, but he's going to be around here. Generally he's going to be under the balcony because it's just a really strong spot. It's really hard to blind the guy under here and things like that. Now your other guy could play many different ways. He could either play in a site spotting ramp and then he could help halls. He could opt back here at a ramp, or HCD spawn rather. He could play up close on the A ramp over here. He can get pushed up into here. He could play on this wall like this. He could play in the in-between boxes. He really has a lot of options. He could even float around towards connector and try to shut down any connector splits. So this guy is your more player who's a lot more mobile and things like that. And the other guy in a site or under balcony or whatever is kind of more stationary. So those are how your two A players are going to set up. Next is going to be your middle player. Your middle player at the start is going to take one of two routes. He's either going to come through here and he's going to go towards connector. And he can go, and this guy is usually an opper. He's usually your team opper that you put at middle. He can go for picks like this. He can go and he can pick like so. He can go and he can peek underpass and just try to get any picks that he can. Or he can go through CT spawn, jump through this vent right here, and come to the window room and do the same thing and just try to go through picks. Now he's usually going to be smoked and flashed out, and his main job is to try to communicate with the team where he thinks the T's are going to go. He's going to try to kind of just tell everyone what he thinks they're going to hit. He's going to try to stay alive and shoot people in the back. He's got to be careful of a few things. You know, he's got to be careful if they have cat control, they can come through this vent. The T's a lot of the time are going to like to boost up in the window, so he's got to be, you know, very careful of that and things of that nature. And then when they come through connector, again, they could split right here, so he's going to watch out for that as well. So the CT or mid player, he's responsible for a lot of things. He's the first to rotate into B and try to get into this window room. He's the first to call where he thinks the T's are going to go, and he really has to communicate very well, and he just kind of helps everyone else out on the map by giving them that information and trying to shoot people in the back. Now, we got the 2A guys and the mid player down. Now we got the 2B players and the small site. So the first B player I'm going to talk about is the guy that holds dedicated B. Now, what he's going to want to do is he's going to want to stay alive. He's going to want to get information of when they're coming through the halls. He's going to keep this smoked for as long as he can, and then he could either call, you know, how many nades are coming up and things like that. He could play from there on the DSN box or Hulk box. He could play up in here. He could even be kind of pushed up. Now, what he generally speaking wants to do is he wants to stay alive, call numbers, throw good counter flashes, and stay alive as long as possible. The longer he stays alive, the longer he's going to give for the cat guy to rotate to him and for the mid guy to come here and rotate to him, and then they're going to get some really easy kills shooting people in the back and things like that. So that's the B guy's job. The next guy over near the B site is your catwalk player. Now he's a player who's going to be very mobile. He can come and he can kind of smoke for the B player like so. He could really play however else he wants as well. He could even opt sometimes through this window room. He can go and he could play on catwalk, you know, pushed up. He could play in the window room itself, in the vents right here, and really lock down cat. He really has a lot of options on what he could do. He could push cat and peek. He could even push up middle, maybe sometimes drop and you know, watch underpass if he wants, like this. If you could get your mid guy pushed up, I mean, he really has a lot of options, and he's very mobile, and he has to make quick decisions on what to do. So that's a very basic setup on how the CT guys are going to be, you know, placed and what their roles are and what they're responsible for. Alright guys, now that we've gone over the CT side of the map and the spot names, finally we're going to go over the T side, and I'm going to give you guys a good default that you guys can kind of do, and you could branch off a lot of things off of it. So the first default that we're going to do is just like an A split. So very simply, you're going to have one guy set up on here, and he's going to end up going A ramp when told. Then you're going to have one guy in the apartments, and he's going to end up going out of the apartments when told. Now, your other two players are going to be going through the B halls, and they're going to end up at the underpass. Finally, you're going to have a mid player who's going to try to take that mid control. Now, you could go and you could smoke off the connector like that, and you could smoke off the window room from T spawn if you want to help him get control really easily. And he's the mid player, and he's going to kind of be your worker role, and he's going to help get control of the map and things like that. Now, the two underpass guys are going to kind of control the strat, and the very first strat is going to be a very simple A split. So this underpass guy can throw a smoke like so, and he could smoke off catwalk, and then you could have another one that smokes like so, and then these two guys could go through the connector and hit up A, while you have one guy coming out of the halls and one guy coming up the A ramp right there. The middle guy can kind of lurk a bit from here. He can maybe throw flashes over a site like so, and just kind of help your guys get out, and then lurk kills off anybody dropping cat or come through connector with them. He really has a lot of options on what he could do. So that's a very simple T side default that you could do, and then you could switch it up and you could do it to B. You could simply have these two underpass guys come here, throw those smokes to fake it, go up towards catwalk, maybe boost one window room, the mid guy can go catwalk with them, and then they could hit catwalk, and instead of having these two guys at A with one here and one in apartments, they would instead go to the B halls and hit up B through here. So there's definitely a lot of options that you could do on this map. It's a bit similar to Dust 2, I think, in that regard, and how you set up on a default and things like that. And there's really just a lot of options, a lot of different rotating pieces that you can move around, but those are two good defaults that you could do, and two very easy to run defaults, so you're not totally lost when you first start playing this map. Again, guys, this has been Dave from netcodesource.com, here from the Razer Academy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you out a bit, and that's about it. So peace out. Hey, what's up everybody from the Razer Academy? This is Dave from netcodesource.com, and in this guide I'm going to go over a basic default on CT side of train for CSGO, and then a T side default. And I'm going to try to discuss roles, player responsibilities, what they need to be watching, what guns they should be using in each spot, and just a very basic guide so you have a little bit more understanding of how to play the map. This is mainly for players who